Welcome to episode 9 of the Holistic Nutrition Hub podcast, the show where we discuss all the important topics that will help you succeed in the nutrition industry. In this new episode, Lynne interviews Ashley Ward and Rosy Atwal from Maple Organics about starting a profitable product business. Ashley and Rosy co-founded Maple Organics in 2017 as Canada's first organic pharmaceutical company. Their mission is to make families healthier through their organic, pure, and clean products, as well as creating career opportunities for women. To read more about Ashley, Rosy, and Maple Organics, head to the show notes at holisticnutritionhub.ca/blog/P009. Don't forget to subscribe to our show on iTunes and support us by giving us a 5-star review. Enjoy the episode, guys.
All right. Thanks for joining us on the podcast today to share your story about Maple Organics. I wanted to start off today by introducing Rosy and Ashley and have them each share their story on how they got it started within this company. So Rosy, why don't we get started with you?
Thanks, Lynne. Thank you for having us today. It's been an amazing journey to watch this brand grow. I mean, even to be on a podcast is really exciting. We are a brand that started many years ago with some formulations that were handed down from my mom and kind of came at the point in my life where I had a baby, my first baby. I think many of your listeners have probably been there where, all of a sudden you have this responsibility for this new life and you want to give them the best start imaginable. So you start to really research, everything that's going to go on them or in them or carry them in your car, whatever it may be. And one of the categories that I really tripped over was kind of the personal care space, like diaper rash creams and lotions and washes and that type of thing. Just having a background and understanding the importance of organic food. Applying that to skincare has always been top of mind for me. So, this kind of began when I found that there wasn't anything out there available for infants, and there wasn't really anything for kids that I felt that was clean, was going to reduce any chances of toxins entering their bloodstream, any type of unnecessary fillers, preservatives, and these days there's a lot of buzz around hormone disruptors that are in these commercial products as well. So I spent some time with my mom and really started to recreate some of the recipes that she had used on us growing up and things that had been used in India. And that's kind of where the story of all the products began, was just trying to find a cleaner and better way.
Great. Yeah. And Ashley, what about you?
Yeah, so Rosy and I have actually known each other for over a decade. We met at a Women in Business panel years ago after we finished our MBA at the Richard Ivey School of Business. And we hit it off right away, became good friends. And kind of from the sidelines, I watched Rosy when she was pregnant with her first son, Nishan, to like the turmoil and the kind of internal struggles she faced with looking at some of these products that just she didn't feel were clean enough to be able to put on her newborn son. And I just was so inspired by the products that she was creating and what she was developing that when I had my second daughter, Everly, and I started to feel a real rub when it came to being present at home, but also I still wanted to have a really interesting, lucrative career. Still wanted to have a social life, be a good partner, and be a good friend. And I felt like the corporate construct of working from 8 to 5 or 9 to 6 or whatever those hours were, just really they were in real conflict with what I wanted to accomplish in my life. And so when Everly was 2 months old, she was started to sleep through the night a little bit better. And Rosy and I came together and started having a conversation around our shared values between taking care of family and also, this real need to create the possibility of living a life where work wasn't at the nucleus, where our priorities around family and health and friends could be at the nucleus, and then work could revolve around that. And we felt like if we were feeling that way, there were likely other women and men that were in that same position as us. So we decided to take these incredible recipes that Rosy had created and to share them with other women and men across Canada through the direct sales channel. And for your listeners who aren't familiar with direct sales, we have almost 100 wellness consultants across Canada who promote and share the products that they so believe in with their friends, their family, their networks, and in doing so have the opportunity to start their own small businesses and to earn and to create that life of flexibility and owning something that's entirely their own as well. So that was really how we started, and that was 2 years ago. We had our first party, and then people started to join us, and about 6 months later, we both quit our full-time day jobs and went for it. And here we are today, just rocking and rolling across Canada. We grew 300% last year, and so excited about what the future holds.
I'm excited because I've used your products and I quite like them, and I know that they're natural and have worked really well for me in terms of your muscle rub and even like your hand lotion, which I've tried. Can I ask? It's really important usually for our listeners to kind of hear what your background is in terms of whether or not you guys have a background in creating products or maybe business or marketing. I like to share these stories too because it can give people a really good look at, starting a product line and not having any background in it. So do either of you guys have a marketing background or, a product line background, or is this just something new for you guys?
Yeah, actually, this is Rosy. I had spent about almost 20 years in the consumer goods industry, and I was fortunate to work for really big companies and really small companies, companies that were quite financially driven, companies that were quite value centric, and really kind of the whole continuum of what could exist, public to private, and all of that and those different makeups. And I was a product development manager for these various companies. And it was a really interesting learning for me. We had a number of other product developers that I would network with and speak with. And, I was fortunate that I was at a great value centric food company called Nature's Path. I learned so much there, and they're just an amazing company and amazing people. And I learned a ton there about the importance of organic and why it's kind of more than just the personal benefit to the individual consuming it. Um, but what that led me to really realize as I spoke with a number of product development managers was that in some of the more kind of conventional brands, we tend to see a lot of value engineering at times. So, taking quality out of the product and kind of prices kind of maintaining or kind of even increasing, kind of the value equation just shifting a bit. And I think one of the reasons that we've seen a lot more people out on their own doing things, and why we're kind of, courageously independent, I call it, is because we really are able to ensure that the value always stays in the product, that we provide a super high quality product with all of the credibility, so all of the credentials that really support any claims that we make, so that everything is third party verified, certified, so there's no risk and in the consumer's belief. And more importantly, Ashley and I are really able to put products out there that we really believe in, that we believe will really help people, and that we believe that are kind of the first or the first couple of go-to products in their household. So, to answer your question as far as could anybody do it, I think you could, like, absolutely. Why wouldn't you? If you think you've got that entrepreneurial bug, you should go for it. There's a lot to know, so certainly, surround yourself with people who have walked some of these paths before, because it'll just save you from some of the pitfalls that can exist with respect to developing a product and then producing it and then packaging it and labeling it and all those things. But if you have a strong value at the center of what you're creating, and you know that there's a market for it, then of course the world is your oyster.
Right, for sure. So from that, one of your values, I guess, in your products is that you are Health Canada certified, correct?
That's correct. So we choose to have all of our products third party certified. The first one is Health Canada. So Health Canada has a product class of a product category called natural health products, and you'll see on our products at the very front there's a little a little nomenclature there. It says NPN, and then it'll give you like an 8-digit number. And what that means is that we have abided by all of Health Canada's guidelines on all natural products, and that we are supported in making the claims that are on the product. So if we have a product, not if we have a product that will soften muscles and reduce muscle pain, we put that on the front of the box. That's what it says it does, and the number underneath it is that's the stamp of approval from Health Canada saying yes, stamp. This does do what these people say it does. So this is going to work, or what Ashley and I would say, this means that it is effective. And so that stamp from Health Canada basically says, yes, this works. And then the other third-party certification that we have is we choose to be USDA organic certified. So that's the United States Department of Agriculture. They have a national organic program, which is of the highest standards anywhere in the world. And so because we abide by those, we are licensed, and we pay the fees, and they come out and they audit our facilities and they check everything. And it's an amazing, very sophisticated system that they have to ensure that every item that's in our products is certified organic and grown in a certified organic farm.
So your products don't contain chemicals in maybe the standard way of thinking, and I know that can be kind of a controversial term because plant extracts, etc., can be called chemicals as well. But let's say your products don't contain manufactured chemicals, and then you have an organic labeling. So what's the difference between chemical-free, natural, and organic, for instance, that sets you guys apart from everybody else?
Yeah, it's funny, we talk about all of these varying degrees of cleanliness, if you will, or purity, if you will, that kind of on a continuum of purity. What truly sets us apart is that when something is organic certified, it is non-genetically modified. So it is in its purest form from the plant that's growing in the ground without pesticides, without fertilizers, so without any chemical interaction that's manufactured and input into the soil or into the air. It grows, and then it is purely distilled. So it'll either be a cold press, or it'll be a steam distillation. So so there is no kind of chemical processing of the ingredient before it goes into our product. So it's steam distilled, it's cold pressed, and that's how we would receive it. So then as you kind of go to varying degrees, and then you would have natural. Natural means, natural is a difficult term. It's not a regulated term. So in some countries, when you say something is natural, like for example, in the entire continent of Europe, when I've been to an organic trade show there, and if somebody says something is natural, like to them, it's like that, there's no point in even going to natural because they don't have any kind of sense of what that actually means. And here in North America, it's kind of the same thing because there's no certification of a natural product. So natural is tough. And I know that many people try their best, and that organic is very hard for a lot of people to achieve. So natural would mean something that grows out of the ground. It may or may not have fertilizers used. It may or may not have had pesticides used. We don't know how they extract the good from the plant. And natural also can contain preservatives, fillers, artificial inputs, and it can contain, you won't likely find a hormone disruptor in it. I doubt somebody who claims that their product is natural would put that in there. So it's kind of buyer beware in the natural space. You need to do your research. You need to know who you're buying from. You need to understand everything. And probably the most important thing is you need to ensure that the company practices full ingredient disclosure. Because again, since natural is unregulated, you could have up to 2% of inputs in a natural product that actually don't need to appear on your ingredient deck. And that's kind of a frightening thought, because 2% is a lot when we think of some of the more unnecessary inputs we can have in our body. So there's organic, there's natural, and then there's kind of, conventional. And I think in conventional is where we get a little bit more of the disrupted product that's been modified through either a chemical process or otherwise. And I'll give you a great example. So we make a muscle therapy product, and I think, Lynn, that's the one you were mentioning earlier. It's an amazing product. You apply it on your skin, and it will soften your muscles. It will, soften kind of any of the stressed tissue in there, and really release any cramping. That product is made with something called oil of wintergreen. And oil of wintergreen grows in nature. There is a particular chemical compound found in that plant called methyl salicylate. And those of you with a chemistry background will know that that is actually a type of an aspirin. So it's a liquid aspirin that is grown in nature. And then you put it on your muscle as the ointment absorbs into your skin and into the muscle tissue, your muscle softens. And that's our certified organic product. So when you buy that, it's all organic inputs. It works just as effectively. You see the NPN, tick, tick, USDA logo. Great. Amazing product. You can feel really good about it. You can use it every day if you want to. It doesn't have a harsh smell to it. It's just a very beautiful kind of plant aroma. And then on the conventional side, you have a product like a Muscle Rub A535 or a Bengay or any of these products that you'll see. Typically they'll come in a metal tube, and it's a bright white ointment. And that product is actually made with methyl salicylate as well. But their methyl salicylate is derived by esterifying salicylic acid in a vat. And the salicylic acid tends to be also chemically derived to come to its state. So when they esterify that acid, it provides methyl salicylate. So now that methyl salicylate is obviously then derived from a chemical process as opposed to a plant-grown process like ours. And then their methyl salicylate is put into an ointment base, which will definitely contain some fillers. That shade of white is typically not natural. So you've gotten to that white by doing something to it. So there are different kind of inputs that allow it to do what it needs to do. And so when you apply that product, you'll find the smell a lot harsher. The pain will dissipate as it should. And that's the product that you've got. So that's kind of the difference. So as you go down from purity, from organic, straight from the plant, just as effective, and then you kind of begin to add various inputs or mechanisms or processes that change that product from its pure form, you get to a lower price point, you get to a more commercially available product, where, again, back to my earlier point, kind of it's been value engineered, value's been taken out to bring the pricing and profit up. So that's kind of the continuum and how that works.
Yeah, so more on that for me, I guess a way to kind of bring this back to holistic nutritionists is with supplementation, for instance. I mean, we get chemical forms of vitamins and minerals, and they'll come in single vitamins, say B12, for instance, when in reality, a B12 will work better with the complex of B vitamins versus just the singular form. And I don't know if you guys can answer this, but I know that, say, the single compound that's found, say, in the wintergreen, for instance, will work better with the other chemical compounds found in the oil itself as well. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
We had that question a few weeks ago. This is Ashley speaking now, Lynn. And specifically around our joint therapy. So our joint therapy is Health Canada licensed to help remove the inflammation in joints and to really soften the joints up. So the Arnica montana in there is the active medical ingredient that helps to vasodilate the capillaries and to get that blood flow that really pools when you have an injury or an arthritic joint moved out of there. And the question we actually got a couple weeks ago was, well, can't we just use Arnica montana on its own? It might be a less expensive product to just purchase Arnica montana. And what we've found is that it really is the combination of Arnica montana, jojoba oil, and a couple of other oils that allow it to really better penetrate into the joints in order to get the best effect. So it's not to say that Arnica montana wouldn't work on its own, but it's going to work. It's going to be far superior when you have that right combination of oils in order to get the best effect.
Right, because having the carrier oil helps to bring that compound into the skin quicker, correct?
Quicker and more deeply as well.
Right. And safer, right? From my understanding, a carrier oil will help make these products a little bit safer on your skin too, just in case it's, I know peppermint can be a pretty harsh oil on its own. So to dilute it a bit as well, correct?
Absolutely. And that's, one of the reasons that when we created our essential oils line, we decided to create rollerball versions of those and to dilute them in camellia oil to Health Canada standards. Because one of the things that we're really striving to do as a company is to make families healthier and to do it in a way that it's really foolproof for Canadian families. So essential oils are so incredibly, they're gaining so much traction and popularity. And I think there's a lot of education that's needed because really plants are medicine. They've been used for thousands of years in that way, but they don't come without any, without risks. So what we're trying to do is remove those risks for the average Canadian at Maple Organics so that they can grab and go and use the products in the way that they know are safe, as opposed to having to go out and educate themselves on mixing, say, their own carrier oils into an oil like peppermint. So that's one of the things that we're striving to do. And it's really interesting you bring up peppermint oil, because that was why we chose to dilute ours with a high grade camellia oil and to put them in a roller ball so that they're easy, grab and go, and still very, very effective because it's a USDA organic certified ingredient base.
Funny story about peppermint oil, I have to say, is that my son got some burns on his finger from touching a pot the other day, and I use essential oils at home all the time. And so I popped some lavender and a drop of peppermint in some oil, and I put them on like a Band-Aid and then wrapped his fingers in them. But what I forgot to tell him was don't touch your eyes. I thought I knew what I was doing, but I forgot that one minor detail, and he touched his eye, and holy Jesus, I can't imagine what that felt like for him. But it followed with some pretty comical eye rinsing and screaming. And anyways, just to the point is that foolproof can happen, but even when you try your darndest to be foolproof, it doesn't always work out that way.
Sure.
Do you guys have any recommendations on where to find out? Sorry, you said that you have an essential oils line. So is there a resource page that people can come and check out to find out how to safely use these products?
So our website's a great resource. We have, so on our website, we have, and in our e-commerce store, we have all of our various essential oils, what they're best used for, any cautions, and then all of that also comes on the packaging when people place an order with us. So that way they're able to do that quick read and to feel confident using those products.
Perfect. So I wanted to touch quickly on European standards versus North American standards and which ones you guys follow. And maybe, I know we briefly touched on this earlier, but what you guys tend to follow and why, essentially.
Sure. So, for those of you familiar, the European standards regulated. For us, we look at the European Union cosmetics regulations, and they've just got this incredibly high level of scrutiny when it comes to ingredients in cosmetic and body care, as opposed to the North American standards. So there are a lot of numbers that get thrown around out there, but what we've found is there are about 1,400 plus ingredients that are banned in European Union that are permitted by the FDA in North America. And I think part of that stems from this idea that in Europe, you have to have studies that prove that the ingredient is safe for use. So it's really a guilty until proven innocent model versus in the United States and in Canada, it's innocent really until proven guilty. And so, for us, being two moms who really want the best for their families and for themselves, we decided that we would opt for the European Union standards. And if you want to have a look at some of the ingredients that we'll never put in our products, we've got our never list on our website, and it really goes through lists a whole host of ingredients that you're never going to see. And like a good example of that might be petroleum. So otherwise known as petrolatum or mineral oil or paraffin oil. So, that stuff it goes into your car, right? It's fuel. It's from a fossil fuel. And it has been known to be laced with carcinogens, and Vaseline would claim to triple purify it. It can be purified even more than that. But what we've decided is that it's not a necessary ingredient. And so why put that on our bodies, or put that on if it's something that could possibly be laced with carcinogens?
I've quickly looked over that list that you guys have in your website, and it's quite impressive. Is there anything else that you guys want to talk about or mention about your products that we haven't already touched on?
I think one of the ingredients that is really unique in our products that you don't find often in North America is called kokum butter. So Kokum. It's are you familiar with the mangosteen plant, Lynne?
Yes.
Yes, I imagine you are, and imagine a lot of the listeners are as well. So that right in the pit, you have this dense, hard white butter, and it has a really high melting point. It's quite an expensive product to source, and it can be challenging to work with because of the melting point. But it's one that we have found has incredible nourishment, like replacement properties in the skin. So to really nourish more deeply, it doesn't just sit on the surface of the skin; it actually penetrates the dermis. But at the same time, it will create a moisture barrier. So it's an incredible product for things like dry skin, eczema, psoriasis, itchytosis, and it's we find that in our skin therapy product as well as our baby moisture balm, and those are products that our customers come back to us time and time again for, because they're so unique in terms of that ingredient, but also they're just incredibly effective as well.
You guys have such a diverse line of products that I think everybody can really find something that will work for them. And so it's cool to know a little bit more about what some of the unique things are that you guys have going on. So this leads me to my next question. What's next for you guys? I mean, you guys have a skin therapy line, you have a muscle rub, you have some baby products, hair care products too. So what is happening for you guys next?
We're going to continue to work on every cabinet in the household. It all started with food, right? So I think all of us have taken a very serious look at what's in the pantry and started to eat more out of the fridge, moving from more preserved food to more fresh food. We're seeing that migration continue to occur into the cabinets that contain our personal care items. We're seeing obviously some traction in cleaning products, and definitely in the space of beauty. And beauty is an interesting one, because I think we all have limits on what we're willing to clean up, and some people won't clean up. So it's interesting. So this winter, we're actually going to be launching our very first ever beauty line. So it's our first facial care line, and it'll have anti-aging products, and developed with the same esteem as any of the products that we've launched before that. And then our focus in 2019 is to really penetrate the Canadian market, because we want to spread this gospel from coast to coast. Ashley's from Halifax. I grew up in Vancouver. We both lived in Ontario at some point in our lives. And so we kind of have such a love and pride for this country. And we really want to take the time to build, networks of healthy families and access for people to buy these products. Going back to my life before this, I'm very aware of what it takes to get on a retail shelf. And those are sacrifices we're not willing to make. We will not reduce quality. We will not, abide by certain profit margins. We just believe that you deserve to get a great product, and that people deserve to earn a fair wage. So we compensate our wellness consultants who support their families, as opposed to the retailers. So when you're buying one of our products, you know that it's cleaner for your family, and somewhere you're helping someone else's family, either buy a pair of shoes or pay for hockey. So the company is really focused on bringing that betterment here home first in Canada, and it's going to be an exciting year ahead.
Sounds good. So how can people either join you in sharing what you guys are doing, or find out more about your products and what you guys are doing in the next year or so?
Great. There's a few ways that people can join us in supporting our mission to make families healthier. One of the ways would be to jump on our website, have a look at our products, and if there's something that you love and you want to pick up, we've got some great Christmas specials on right now. Another way would be to host an at-home maple experience. So we do a lot of experiences to allow communities and people to come together, either with a spa hydration type event. We do pain management events. We do baby massage events. So we really love to bring education to Canadian families, and we do that best. And it's a lot of fun to kind of bring a group together. So hosting an event is a great way to earn free products and also to get to test them all out yourself live in person. And then the third way that people join us is as a wellness consultant. So our wellness consultants, as Rosy mentioned, are across Canada, and they're a group of strong women and men who I'd say most of them, they have a day job, and this is something they do off the side of their desk because they really believe in clean products. Maybe they want to earn a little extra income, and they'd already be recommending the product, so why not earn a little bit off of it? And they earn up to 35% commission on all of their sales, and up to 35% as a discount on their own product purchases. So that's another way to join us. And we decided we would do a little bonus for your listeners today. So that typically to get started, it's $129. That's a starter pack, and then our wellness consultants have an opportunity to buy a product pack of full size products to be able to share with family and friends, because being able to test, see, touch, smell the products is such an important part, I think, of the education process. And so those are typically purchased at about a 40% discount. We have 3 of those. So for your listeners, from now until the end of November, if you buy a product pack with us, then you'll have the opportunity to sign up at a $100 discount, so for only $29. And we really want to do that because we believe that having more people that are in the healthcare space that really can educate and promote the products and who really believe in them are the people that we really want to partner with from a value standpoint.
Well, thank you so much for doing that for our listeners. I definitely think that these products could be an integral part of somebody's business or even in their home. And as holistic nutritionists, it's pretty important for us to educate people on the negative effects of chemicals on our skin or in our homes, and also hormone disruptors. And so it is definitely a brand that I myself can stand behind, because I know that it comes with such a high quality standard, and then also helping people to remove all of these negative things that are found in regular products. So education and all of that stuff is super important to me, but I know that it will hopefully cross with some other holistic nutritionists who are interested as well. So I thank you for that. Before we finish off today, is there anything that you guys would like to leave with our listeners? Any final tidbit of information or encouragement or anything?
One of the things that we find is it can be a little bit, as a mom, I've got 2 kids, and it can be a little bit overwhelming, this whole space of like, how do I make sure I'm providing my kids with the best, or my family, or my parents, or my husband, or wife, or whatever it is. And I think the parting thought that I have is, you are doing a great job. If you're listening to this podcast in the first place, it means that you're wanting to become educated and kind of seek out better ways. But everything takes time, so be patient with yourself, and don't fear everything. We're all learning at the same time, and we all do the little bits that we can. So, take care of yourself too, and don't worry about this so much. We're all doing a great job.
Thanks. I think that's a very important reminder, especially for business owners, to take care of themselves. And yes, that we are just doing everything that we can. Ashley, do you have anything to say?
I think I would just mirror a little bit what Rosy had said, in that, running a business and building a client base, it takes time. There are no shortcuts. It takes time, it takes faith, it takes belief, love, support of the people around you, and we're always excited to meet new entrepreneurs and people out there who really are living their dream, are living their values. And so I'm just I'm excited for all of you that are running your own businesses or that are thinking about running your own businesses, and to say that good things take time, and keep the faith and surround yourself with people who are going to lift you up as opposed to question what you're doing, because those are the people that are going to stand beside you and help you in those times when you might question what you're doing. Those are the people to have around you. So surround yourself with those people.
Perfect. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's hard to be a business owner, and it's great to connect with people who are within the same realm and they're becoming entrepreneurs with you or around you and bounce ideas off of them. And I think what you guys are doing is great. I myself met Ashley promoting my business myself. So it just goes to show you that making connections that way can have benefit for sure. So I just want to finish off by saying thank you to you both for coming on the podcast today and sharing the products that you guys are so passionate about. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys have come out in the future.
Thank you. Can't wait to share. Thanks so much for your time today.
Yeah, no worries. It was a pleasure having you guys on the podcast.
Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, please support us by subscribing and leaving us a review on iTunes. If you have any topic requests or suggestions for the podcast, we'd love to hear them. Simply shoot us an email at podcast@holisticnutritionhub.ca. That's podcast@holisticnutritionhub.ca. To access the show notes, including the links to the special offers from Maple Organics, head to holisticnutritionhub.ca/blog/P009. That's it for today. Until next time, take care, guys.